extra time, England came out on top yesterday, meaning South Africa need to win this to tie up the 3-game series. England with a 2-goal lead at the moment, though, heading into the third quarter. 27-29, the lead for England. But changes made by the Roses. That goal shooter bid with George Fisher just out of shot coming on. We'll talk you through those changes in just a moment. Plenty, though, to think about for Jess Thirlby and Kat Ratnapala on that England bench. From here in Cape Town to back home in the UK on Sky Sports, Super Sport across South Africa and YouTube around the world. We're heading into the third quarter of South Africa, England, and just the 2 goals in it. England lead at the break, 29-27. Simeon Tucker alongside me, and changes for both sides. England bringing on George Fisher at that goal shoot position, but it's footwork called against Kadeen Corbin. She's got maybe an interested expression on her face, but changes for South Africa too, Simeon.
Yeah, changes for both teams. I think it's great to see Fisher stepping up for Cardwell. There was a lot of pressure, I think, Phumza Moweni put in that shooting circle. But I still thought that Cardwell did well, but it's going to be great to see how Fisher steps up in that goal shooting position. And then for the SPAR approaches, Bongi Msomi sits this one out. We absolutely enjoyed, you know, what Rome Dreyer brought on the attacking side for the SPAR approaches, and I think that's what's been missing in the first half. So hopefully you can get that connector or that linker between the defenders and shooters with Rome Dreyer on centre.
Yeah, it was Rademan who was punished with Ziggy Berger coming on, but just seeing those changes maybe through court for South Africa and the impact that Dreyer will have.
Oh, that's
again,
yeah. She's going to be disappointed with herself. I mean, those are 2 errors, you know, that could cost England. Stepping error and now a line-breaking error. She does have to clean up a bit.
There's Razi Kwashi, who we saw come on at the end of that last quarter in that circle, matching up well with Ziggy Berger.
Oh, that's a good ball there from Grissel straight to Ziggy Berger.
I'd say Grissel's one of those players internationally that you look at and think she should be in that starting 7 every week.
Definitely, Caroline, you know, she's such a strong and I think well-conditioned player, and she just brings a different dynamic on court, completely unfazed. You know, you can go after her consistently. She won't, you know, fall for that.
Yeah, George Fisher, from head to toes, a little bit different. You'll see some character from her. I think she's got her LeBron shoes on as well, up the other end. Anyway, concentration on that South Africa attacking end. And there is the South Africa 1995 World Cup squad watching on.
Yeah, and what they've done is, you know, for some of their teammates that couldn't physically be here this afternoon, they've brought a sneaker to represent them, that they are here in spirit, they are supporting their SPAR approaches, but I think it's such a great or special, you know, relationships amongst those players to be able to still connect, you know, 24 years later.
Talking of sneakers, there are the basketball trainers that George Fisher's wearing.
That is obstruction, wing attack.
That's a beauty there, well read by Grissel, and just a great understanding between these 2 players is incredible.
32-all, Malcolm and Clark.
This is actually quite interesting. It almost feels as if, you know, both teams have dropped the intensity just one notch, that they're playing with a little bit more cautious ness on court. I think just playing it safe, you know, bring that ball down, no quick passes, just slow it down a bit.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful feed in, gratefully received from Ziggy Berger, but all that hard work done outside the circle. Proper tussle. Oh, and now the footwork call.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those calls against the English Roses, unfortunately. But
not that you'd know it. No reaction from the coaches. Internalizing that one. That one's hurting.
They have to. They absolutely have to, because if we had to hear what they were saying, you know, with these errors, it wouldn't be pretty at all.
They were down at the first quarter. They were down at half-time. South Africa, like they did yesterday, go ahead in the third. 3 in the run of goals, and that's where the issues are. Van der Merwe and Polgita, oh, sensing it. There's the experience. Francis does well. Great intercept.
She's got such an incredible, I think, quite a high work rate, Francis.
George Fisher came out for it again. Offers, great take. Fisher with a settler. There you go. Just one more word on those shoes. They're part of the equality series with LeBron James too. And I know that George Fisher spoke quite a lot on social media about the work of Colin Kaepernick, and just seeing those shoes too on that court here in South Africa. And Fisher puts another goal away.
She's quite impressive. I haven't seen Phumza be able to counter her as yet, so I'm still waiting to see how she's able to adapt, you know, to the introduction of Fisher, because she's doing so well in terms of defending her space and using her feet, you know, to get close to the goalpost. But I don't think the SPAR Proteas have an answer as yet.
How calm was that from England, with South Africa sneaking ahead? How impressive has Fisher been since she's come on court? It's won the Super League. George Fisher went with Wasps, now with Saracens Mavericks in 2019. Her father's also a bit of a snappy dresser. You can often pick him out in the crowd. He loves a good hat.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't like that one though. Van der Merwe accepts it. Every time either of these sides just feel like they get themselves in front, something happens and the others come back.
Good patience coming from the SPAR Proteas. They're swinging the ball right across the court. I think making full use of the breadth of the court and just confuse, you know, trying to break away from the defenders. It is working, and they are rewarded with an additional point. There's the patience again. Oh, that's good work there.
She's so calm, isn't she?
I think in this third quarter, Caroline, it becomes so critical, you know, to kind of hold back a bit and just do the basics and execute those exceptionally well. Come fourth quarter, they give it everything they've got, and this is looking like a game plan well executed.
Well, we said tactically how both teams would handle overnight, the pressure of overnight. Fisher, fresh legs. She didn't experience that extra time yesterday. That's telling at the moment, but key players like Dreyer, who was so instrumental for South Africa, has had a little rest to start with early on, and just the impact they're now making off the bench.
Oh, that's a, oh, unfortunately a stepping error for Segeberger. Oh, she'll be disappointed with that one. And England returns the favor.
No. I mean, I was talking about great hats. There was another.
Yes, thank you.
Step in, the fake shot, little pass, and Berger, without a care in the world, takes them level again.
It's a good setup there by Van der Merwe and Maweni, closing them in. Oh!
See, that was interesting because Fisher was an option earlier. They didn't go for it, and that gave time for the defense just to rearrange. There was a little bit of a wobble on that post, but that didn't matter, did it? Giselle. Pogita having to do a lot of work outside of that circle now. Simeon Tucker alongside me, former South Africa player, and been impressed in it just how, for both these sides actually, it's so easy when you go behind just to let that get to you, but the resilience from both.
Yeah, it's not an easy task, Caroline, I have to say, but you know, fully agree with you in that regard. Both teams not seemingly faced by the scoreboard, but just able to stay in the game and fight all the way. And I think that talks just to the mental ability of both teams. So that really has been, I think, quite inspirational to see from both sides.
Oh, good vision from Haythornthwaite. England captain into George Fisher.
South Africa.
I still don't think the SPAR Proteas have an answer to Fisher as yet. You know, she's dominating that circle. She's dictating where she wants to go, how she wants to play on court.
Oh, and look at that. The ball straight into Kwashi. And they've not, we've seen a couple of those, but South Africa look like they've just drilled some of those errors out of their game.
Oh, that's good defense there. The SPAR Proteas forcing the English Roses to play back and reset, but it's good work there by Corbin.
And great elasticity. Easy for me to say with 4 of my false teeth in, but just in that ability just to go quickly and pull it one to the other and get going. And now South Africa, that's key, that's important. Berger was ready for it, but umpire doesn't want it. Oh dear.
Yeah, I think that's gonna hurt the SPAR Proteas. It was such an important steal there, but not able to close off.
Wow. So, England 40-38 up. And I keep telling you the reflections on yesterday, but South Africa won the third quarter yesterday and were 40-39 up. And it is just the similar nature of these calls. If we wondered if the legs would be gone after extra time, just shows actually, oh, it might be the mind.
That was superb defense. It started in the center third. They forced England to stay there, and well executed by the SPAR Proteas.
Wow, back to another goal. Dreyer. And this, you get the feeling, could be key for South Africa, and that's why that hand-in was so important. Clark now has it. And Francis, it's just got all a little bit sloppy.
But this is the difference as well. You know, the English side is playing short passes into the space, and they'll play as many balls as they need to get to the shooting circle. Whereas the SPAR Proteas, you know, it's almost as if they're playing these long-range passes, which, I mean, it's an easy meal for the English Roses defensively.
And as Fisher puts this shot up, she'll take the applause of the bench over to one side. And you can see warming up over there as well. A couple of the England players with bibs on. We might see some changes for them heading into that final quarter.
I wanted to say, I don't even think there's an if about Fisher, you know, taking those shots. I mean, she's had quite an impressive accuracy rate and just conversion since she took the responsibility from Cardwell.
Now South Africa again. Seen that goal open up. Great teamwork, England defensively. South Africa will have another go. Knocking at the door. The settle from Potgieter. No.
Just shoot.
Wasn't happy.
She must take it. I think Potgieter is in a range, you know, where she could take that shot quite comfortably, but she opted to play out.
She's got such a sweet shot as well. Little man, big heart, cheering on South Africa at the moment. Haythornthwaite and Fisher. That a combination well known from Wasps.
South Africa!
As she might smile too, 100%. Brilliant introduction into this series from George Fisher. Van der Merwe, what answers can South Africa find now?
Wing obstruction. Contact.
Oh, that's unfortunate there. But it was well read by Stacey Francis, but just slightly off timing. She's so good with those diagonal passes.
Well, Berger was directing traffic and said where she wanted it. Still have the ball, South Africa.
With the keeper.
Would you make changes? Simi, you want to see some changes off the bench or positional changes for South Africa?
I would reintroduce Rademan, to be honest, and take Potgieter back, I think, on the shooting position. I mean, Siga's doing so well with a 100% conversion rate, but I do think that they're missing that linker, you know, which is kind of what Rademan brings to the table.
Oh, George Fisher. I thought that one was going in. She does like a shot from distance, but South Africa could be big for them. Last few seconds, they won't have time, surely, to get down the other end. Nope. No doing. Well, it was the quarter that we often call the championship this side, as South Africa won it yesterday, but this day it goes to England. 2 goals the lead as they head into that final quarter. South Africa 41, England 43.
South Africa.
So a 2-goal lead then at the break, heading into the final quarter. Simi, so many moments in that, and laugh you might, because South Africa came back and then there was ball thrown, and clearly just a little bit of the effort that's gone over the past day and a half was coming out in those legs and those heads as well.
Listen, I cannot take it anymore. I mean, the amount of anxiety that we're just going through this game. You know, 1 minute you think they're back in and then they're falling back again, but I think it's exactly what we wanted out of the series.
Are you ignoring this?
I'm trying to look at you so I can actually look away and be serious in this conversation, but
wife, mum, boss.
can't miss that.
I'm all about that. Can I get me one of those t-shirts to take home? Well, while I go off shopping to find that t-shirt, let's have a look at the highlights then from that third quarter. And the introduction of George Fisher worked for England, but really playing on the edge, on the line, each of these players, and just